Welcome back, coin lovers. In 2004, China was passing through one of its most dynamic eras, an age of rising skylines, booming technology, and a new confidence shaping the future of Asia. During this period, the People's Bank of China reintroduced and continued the circulation of the 5 jiao coin, a denomination that stood as a symbol of daily life in China. The 5 jiao coin was not just a national currency piece. It was a marker of a society shifting from old traditions toward modern development. The 2004 issue emerged from the mint at a time when China was preparing to step firmly into the global economic spotlight, with the coin itself reflecting the changing spirit of the nation. Its metallic shine and minimalist design represented a break from older, more classical pattern styles and showed the world a new side of Chinese craftsmanship. At the center of this transformation was the need for a durable, strong, and universally recognized medium of exchange that could survive China's fast-paced marketplaces. The 5 jiao coin became exactly that, simple enough to be recognized instantly, yet distinctly Chinese in appearance and meaning. With its unique golden brass tone, it stood out among other denominations, becoming one of the most commonly used coins in bus stations, convenience stores, and local bazaars across the country. The 2004 version soon became part of millions of daily transactions, silently witnessing the economic rise that the world would later call the Chinese miracle. The 2004 5 Wu Jiao coin carries a design that is more symbolic than many new collectors realize. On the obverse side, the bold, geometric 5 paired with the Chinese characters creates a clean and modern look. This clarity in design was intentional. China was pushing for a future-focused identity, and even its coins were meant to reflect simplicity, strength, and progress. The characters are arranged in a manner that gives balance and harmony, a subtle nod to traditional Chinese aesthetics while embracing a minimalist future. The reverse side is where the poetic heart of the coin lies, the beautiful orchid flower. The orchid is a symbol of elegance, quiet strength, and refinement in Chinese culture. In classical poetry, the orchid represents noble character, someone who stands pure even in difficult environments. By placing this flower on the coin, the designers were connecting modern China with its ancient cultural soul. The coin essentially becomes a bridge between history and modernity, a small piece of metal that carries an entire philosophy of life. Its smooth circular shape symbolizes unity and continuity, while the detailed orchid engraving brings a touch of art to everyday currency. For many collectors, this blend of symbolism makes the 2004 5 jiao coin one of the most aesthetically meaningful coins of modern China. Though millions of these coins were minted, their significance changed over time as China slowly reduced the vast circulation of small denominations. The 5 jiao coin, once a daily necessity, began to fade from everyday transactions as digital payments like WeChat Pay and Alipay took over. By the late 2010s, the younger generation of China rarely used coins at all, making older issues like the 2004 edition gradually more interesting to collectors. While not extremely rare today, the 2045 jiao has become a reminder of the last phase of China's cash economy, before the digital revolution transformed the way people bought and sold everything. Collectors often value the 2004 coin for its cultural beauty, and as a memory of China's rapidly shifting history. Clean, uncirculated pieces hold a higher value and are often kept in albums as part of the modern Chinese economy series. Over time, coins like these gain historical value because they represent the lifestyle, economic habits, and artistic choices of a period that is now changing faster than ever. As China moves deeper into digital currency systems, physical coins like the 2004 5 jiao are becoming symbolic, keepsake small, preserved stories of a nation's journey through modernization. In the early years of the 21st century, China stood on the edge of an extraordinary transformation, a transformation that the world would later describe as one of the greatest economic shifts in human history. Cities that were once quiet industrial zones were now expanding into vast metropolitan centers. Rural populations were migrating into urban districts at a rate never seen before. China was entering a new era, digital, global, competitive, and culturally awakened. And in the heart of this massive national transformation existed something extremely small yet deeply meaningful. The 5 Wujiao coin, specifically the 2004 issue, coin that silently recorded the evolution of modern China. The year 2004 was not random. It represented a period of national confidence. China had successfully joined the World Trade Organization. Its exports were soaring, factories were multiplying, and its middle class was just beginning to rise. For economists, the big indicators of progress were GDP, production capacity, industrial output, and trade numbers. But for ordinary people, progress was felt in the coins they exchanged, everyday coins. Like the 5 Jiao, it was the currency of buses, lunches, taxis, schools, telephone booths, fruit markets, and small shops. Every Chinese citizen, regardless of where they lived, had touched this coin. The 5 Wujiao coin was also a symbol of the new Chinese identity, a nation carrying its ancient traditions but stepping confidently toward modernity. The design kept simplicity, but the meaning behind it was deeply cultural. The obverse side, featuring the bold number 5 with the Chinese characters, was a statement of clarity and functionality. China wanted its currency to be quickly recognizable, easy to use, and reflecting modern design principles. But the reverse side held an even deeper philosophical message: the beautifully engraved orchid flower. To many people around the world, an orchid is just a flower. But in China, the orchid carries centuries of cultural, poetic, and moral symbolism. Ancient scholars believed orchids represented purity of character, refinement, wisdom, and spiritual elegance. The orchid was admired for its beauty, but also for its ability to grow in solitude, symbolizing dignity even when faced with adversity. By engraving the orchid onto its 5 Jiao coin, China connected modern currency with ancient philosophy. The metal composition of the coin and aluminum brass alloy gave the 5 Jiao its distinctive golden tone. It was lightweight yet durable, crafted to survive millions of transactions in the bustling markets of Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and beyond. Metal, for many nations, carries memory. Every scratch, every faint mark on a coin represents hands that used it, laborers paying for lunch, school children buying snacks, an old couple sharing tea, or a traveler purchasing a bus ticket. The 2004 5 Wujiao coin became a witness to millions of stories, millions of lives, millions of memories. But to truly understand the depth of this coin's historical value, we must look at China's monetary system more broadly. The country had experimented with many coinage systems through dynasties, revolutions, and political changes. The earliest Chinese coins were square-holed bronze pieces. Later dynasties introduced round coins with inscriptions. After the fall of the last dynasty and the birth of the modern Chinese Republic, coinage took many different forms. But by the 1980s and 1990s, China had begun to standardize its modern renminbi coinage. The 5 Jiao became a crucial mid-tier denomination, bridging small purchases with larger notes. By 2004, the design had stabilized, and the 5 Jiao was one of the most commonly traded coins. Its presence in shops, transportation systems, and daily life made it almost inseparable from the identity of 21st century Chinese society. The orchid engraved on the 5 Wu Jiao 2004 coin is more than artwork, it is storytelling in metallic form. The orchid has been praised by Chinese philosophers for over 2,000 years. Confucius, one of the greatest thinkers in human history, wrote poetic verses describing orchids as symbols of virtue and moral strength. He believed orchids represented people who maintain integrity even when alone, even when surrounded by hardship. This moral message aligns directly with China's cultural identity, a civilization that has endured wars, invasions, dynastic collapses, revolutions, and cultural renaissances, yet always rebuilt itself. The 5 Jiao coin silently carries that message, beauty with resilience. Coins are often seen as plain objects, but in China, design is never meaningless. Every stroke, every symbol, every engraving carries a message. The orchid's placement on the reverse side is deliberate. It suggests that true beauty is something internal, something not always shown first, something carried within. The Chinese writing on the obverse, clean and sharp, stands for functionality and clarity. The orchid on the reverse stands for soul, tradition, and inner beauty. Together, the two sides create a coin that balances modern efficiency with ancient culture, something very few world coins achieve. The 5 Wu Jiao 2004 coin began as a common currency piece, but as China advanced technologically, its role slowly changed. During the early 2010s, China experienced the digital payment revolution. Alipay and WeChat Pay changed everything. People no longer needed to carry coins for bus fares, snacks, or small purchases. Even street vendors began using QR codes. As a result, physical coins, especially small denominations, slowly faded from daily life. By 2018, many young Chinese citizens rarely used coins at all. This made physical coins, especially older issues like the 2004 5 Jiao, more nostalgic and collectible. What was once a simple market coin became a symbolic reminder of China's pre-digital era. Collectors in Asia, Europe, and the Middle East began acquiring these coins not because they were rare, but because they represented a historical transition period. The shift from physical currency to digital currency is one of the biggest economic revolutions of the 21st century, and the 2004 5 Jiao stands at the crossroads of that transformation. Collectors value this coin for three main reasons. 1. Historical context. China's economic rise in the early 2000s was one of the fastest in human history. This coin belongs to that era. 2. Symbolic artwork. The orchid engraving increases its desirability. Coins with deep cultural symbolism tend to age well in the collector world. 3. Disappearing physical use. As digital payments dominate, physical coins become less common, increasing future collectible value. Uncirculated or mint-condition pieces are often kept in albums, sealed packets, or graded by organizations such as NGC. Over time, the 2004 issue becomes a memory coin, something that reminds collectors of how different the world was just 2 decades ago. Every coin travels farther than we ever imagine. It passes from hand to hand, across towns, across villages, across families, and through the silent stories of millions of people. The 5 Wu Jiao coin of 2004 may be small and ordinary, but the lives it touched were extraordinary. In this final part of the history, we go beyond design, beyond economics. Beyond symbolism, we explore the human world this coin lived in. Because great coins are not remembered only for what they were made of, but for the memories they helped create. In 2004, China was a nation balancing its ancient soul with a rapidly modernizing world. Yet one thing remained timeless: the daily life of ordinary people. A shopkeeper in a narrow street of Beijing would hear the faint clink of 5 Jiao coins dropping into a metal bowl as customers bought steamed buns early in the morning. A school student in Shanghai would tuck 5 jiao coins into their pocket for lunch. A taxi driver in Guangzhou would keep a small pouch full of these coins to give change to passengers traveling through the fast-growing city. Each time a coin changed hands, a tiny piece of someone's life, someone's effort, someone's struggle, someone's hope moved with it. A 5 jiao coin wasn't just currency. It was a companion in the daily rhythm of a nation whose heart was beating faster than ever before. By 2004, factories were booming, jobs were increasing, and people were traveling more than ever. This meant the 5 jiao coin spread extremely quickly across provinces and regions, becoming one of the most widely recognized symbols of the era. It was in the pockets of farmers visiting cities, in the cash registers of supermarkets, in the lockers of students, and even in the hands of street musicians who played their hearts out for coins, placed in a small bowl. And while no one counted how many journeys a single 5 jiao coin made, each carried invisible fingerprint stories of joy, sorrow, hard work, dreams, and survival. But as the nation advanced into the late 2000s and early 2010s, something began to change. A silent revolution was coming. Mobile payments, QR codes, smartphones everywhere. What began as a small technological convenience soon became a nationwide transformation. Suddenly, people didn't need coins anymore. The same shopkeeper who once collected handfuls of 5 jiao coins every morning now had a QR code taped to his counter. Students used smartphones to pay for lunch. Buses replaced coin boxes with scanners. Even street musicians began using QR donations. The 5 jiao, once the king of daily transactions, now felt like a fading memory. And this is where its story changed from common to collectible. The further it disappeared from circulation, the more people realized how deeply it was connected to the foundation of everyday life. It wasn't just metal, it was nostalgia. It was memory. It was history. Collectors, both inside China and worldwide, started to see the beauty in the 2004 issue. The orchid engraving suddenly felt more precious, more elegant, more symbolic. The golden tone of the aluminum brass alloy felt warmer than before. The coin, which once lived quietly in millions of pockets, was now finding a new life inside coin albums, collector boxes, and graded slabs. But the global legacy of this coin goes even deeper. Countries around the world began studying China's economic rise, and the 5 jiao coin became a small but tangible symbol of that rise. Collectors in Europe valued it as part of China's growth era. Coins. Collectors in the Middle East appreciated its elegant floral design. Collectors in Africa found inspiration in how China modernized its monetary system. In museums, in online collections, and in numismatic groups, the 5 jiao became a miniature time capsule of an age when China reshaped the world economy. And yet, the most beautiful aspect of this coin is not its rarity, not its metal, not even its artwork. The most beautiful aspect is how it connects humanity. A child who saved these coins in 2004 is now an adult living in a digital world. A shopkeeper who handled hundreds of them remembers the smell of early morning markets. A traveler who used this coin for bus rides might now smile nostalgically when they see it again. A collector in another part of the world might feel a connection to Chinese culture through the orchid. And a YouTube viewer watching your video will feel the history of a coin they never even used. This is the power of numismatics, the ability of small, simple objects to carry stories far bigger than themselves. As we reach the final chapter of the story of the 5 Wuzhou 2004, it is no longer just a coin. It is a witness, a traveler, a silent historian. It has passed through millions of hands, traveled across continents, and survived an era of unprecedented change. From the bustling markets of Beijing to the quiet homes of collectors around the world. This coin embodies the essence of a generation on the threshold of transformation. The beauty of this coin lies not in its rarity, nor in its metallic composition, but in its storytelling power. It carries the pulse of early 21st century China, the laughter of children on school streets, the labor of workers in factories, the tiny interactions in markets, the quiet hope of citizens dreaming of a brighter future. Every scratch, every mark, every gleam on the surface is a chapter in a narrative far greater than any single human life. A orchid engraved on its reverse side is more than art. It is philosophy. In Chinese culture, the orchid represents virtue, purity, resilience, and understated elegance. By placing this flower on a coin that circulated daily, the designers gave every transaction a subtle lesson that everyday life is intertwined with beauty and culture. Even in small, routine exchanges, there is meaning, there is history, there is connection. This makes the coin a bridge between generations. It connects those who grew up using it, those who studied it in collections, and those who will learn about it centuries from now. Its story is no longer limited to the streets of China, it now belongs to the world. Think of the 5 Wujiao 2004 as a traveler in time. It began in the mint, birthed under industrial machines, and traveled to countless hands, witnessing moments that shaped ordinary lives. Then, as the digital revolution swept across China, the coin slowly faded from daily use. But in its absence, its emotional and symbolic value soared. Humans naturally seek connection with objects that carry memory. For those who grew up during its circulation, the coin evokes nostalgia, the clink of change in pockets, the warmth of a small transaction, the joy of simple, everyday moments. For collectors worldwide, it becomes a piece of living history, tangible proof of the culture, economy, and artistry of modern China. Even today, the coin continues its journey digitally. Through videos, online forums, auctions, and platforms like your YouTube channel CoinAgeEra, it inspires curiosity, appreciation, and admiration. Its story reaches people who may never touch the coin but can feel its history through storytelling. The 5 Wujiao 2004 coin has become more than a collector's item. It has become a global ambassador of Chinese heritage and modernity. It teaches a simple yet profound lesson that even small things, when crafted with meaning and purpose, can transcend borders and generations. It is a reminder that every culture has objects that carry invisible yet powerful stories of people, growth, change, and aspiration. Collectors in Pakistan, India, Europe, the Middle East, and beyond now hold not just a coin, but a fragment of history. It travels through the world, connecting lives and sparking discussions about art, culture, economy, and human experience. It is a humble metallic, ambassador of a civilization that balances tradition and modernity, heritage and progress. The 5 Wujiao coin teaches us something timeless, that beauty exists in simplicity. That value is often invisible until we reflect. That ordinary objects can carry extraordinary stories. That time transforms utility into memory. As humans, we often overlook the small things, the coins in our pockets, the daily transactions, the unnoticed moments. Yet, these small things are the building blocks of memory, culture, and history. The 5 Wujiao 2004 coin is proof that even ordinary objects can carry the weight of civilization. And so, the journey of the 5 Wujiao 2004 ends not in a market, not in a pocket, and not in a drawer, but in our hearts, our minds, and our stories. It reminds us to appreciate the ordinary, to cherish memory, and to recognize the beauty and history in every small piece of our world. Through this coin, we witness the rise of modern China, the transition from tradition to technology, and the power of human connection, all captured in a small, golden brass circle engraved with the elegance of an orchid. If this story of the 5 Wujiao 2004 moved you, inspired you, or sparked curiosity, then let it inspire you to look closer at the ordinary objects around you. Every coin, every artifact, every simple object may hold a story waiting to be discovered. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned to CoinAgeEra for more hidden treasures, ancient histories, and fascinating stories from the world of coins. Because history is not just in books, it lives in the small, quiet, extraordinary objects all around us.